Hello, hello. Here we go. Back into Upper Denevrin. try and shake me off. These guys are easy to beat. Dang, it might actually be getting smarter. Cling. He's gonna try and throw me. Let's just harvest the strength from the chest. And it's defeated again. Oh yeah, these things are, that one's too easy to beat now. I've gotten so used to it. The Ark of Stricken Earth. All you do is break the 4 bolts and then go to the center of his chest and grab the strand and yank it out and kill it. That thing dies far too easily. Almost makes that fight boring now for me. Just sad. I used to love fighting the Ark of Stricken Earth. The Ark of Flame at least has a bit more trick. You have to get on its head to get the strand out of him. But the Ark of Stricken Earth It's on its frickin' chest, making it incredibly easy to kill. Don't think I didn't notice you. Get fireballed.
The surge clearly hit Denevron hard. Still, what a view.
Hold on.
I knew there was a risk. I tried to jump. Yeah, the Ark of the Stricken Earth is too easy. There's gotta be a trick to getting to the spire, though. What am I missing? Do I have to go through the Atrium of Champions, maybe? Gotta be. I've got to go through the Atrium of Champions and then circle around too. Dodge. Ya. Da. That one's gonna run because it's an archer, so it's gonna try and stay away from me. This one's a shield bearer, which he's just gonna try and get close. I just trapped them both in a fire trap. Hopefully that killed both of them, but might have only got one. The archer realized what I was doing and ran. Get stuck in a fire trap, idiot. Just burn already, you stupid robot. Finally it did. No, it didn't. Are you one of those frickin' invincible ones? Alright. finally it died.
Impressive building. Wonder what's inside. I'd always heard the Enclave liked to keep extensive records. It's an Lawkeeper's dream. Let's see if we can find a registry of Maker's sigils.
Never trust that an enemy's dead until you see it yourself. Just like never trust that one of those that is kneeling is actually deactivated.
This looks like some kind of evacuation. Doing their research before enacting asylum, I'd wager.
Quit running like a bitch. Is that all of you, finally? No, it's not, of course. Burn. Now am I finally safe to look around?
Tables with assets listed. Looks like a tabulation of supply levels. Coordination for the runners and haulers. They remained in the city for years after the surge, according to these dates. Until they enacted asylum, at any rate. Just some birth records. Surprisingly detailed.
Invaluable. We'll have to make sure Lane adds them to our archive later.
Here we go. Sigils. Ah, found it. Our creator is listed here as Lucia de Crassus. 2 registered workshops, both council approved for dangerous materials. She must have had some pull before the surge. One is here in the city, and the other, let's see. I've been there. That frozen town out in Dredger's Mire. Better wear something warm.
I think it's important we run this one down, Bryn. The water clock is dripping.
A lot of damage this high up.
Return to base for now.
Back in the spire. Let's see if we can find a registry of Maker's sigils.
Softwood is easy to find. So I'm going to give all of it to my camp, upgrade station, upgrade hers to level 4. Now I have the ability for more items to be pulled back with me. Terra Stone I can find pretty easily. It's whenever a rock gets broken during a fight with a boss. 20 more, which I can probably find in like Dredger's Mire and stuff. And now to go to the Lower Denevrin, get that one done. Then we go to the Mire.
place was registered to our enchantress of interest, Lucia. It sure doesn't look like a saboteur or smuggler's den. On the workings of Archons by L. de Crassus. Seems promising. Dom?
Certainly promising. Probably not enough to go on by itself, though. Still significant.
Yes, and now I return to base and go to Pull the Veil. As that was the first clue in Lower Denevrin.
That aerolith can influence the weather. Almost certainly why things are frozen over.
Malfunctioning, then?
Indisputably. The ice buildup must be causing a cyclical localized reaction.
Sure. I'll take care of it.
Good idea. Swampy environs and intense cold is bad even for Enclave parchment. Best to lower the risk.
Already warming up. Hope I didn't damage the priceless artifact too much.
Can't make an omelette, as they say.
A lot of notes here. Water damage from the cold and melt, though. Let's see. Materials. Huh. That's how you visualize a pattern. Lots of marginal notes. These have to be from Lucia. Ah, she mentions a flood in the later passages.
Sev and I will look at these together with her book then. See what we can learn in context. As Aurea says, candle is burning on our flood problem.
I've freed the city from its icy veil. That should prove useful in later times of coming back here to fight bosses.
Any luck with the materials we gathered from Lucia's workshops?
Yes. I'll let Sev fill you in.
We started with the book, which was painfully dry and
Dry and highly theoretical.
Unsurprising. The Enclave was notoriously tight-lipped about the construction of the arcs.
the book was still useful as it contained a number of craft-specific terms, shorthands and annotations, all critical. Referencing the book clarified the notes.
Without it, they bordered on deranged rant, especially at the end.
Sort of a window into her thinking.
We suspect Lucia spent a long time in isolation while
working on these.
She covered many topics, but the most prominent was her work into the Flood.
The Flood.
Who exactly was Lucia?
Brilliant, but disturbed. She harbored a severe hatred of Enclave leadership, bordering on obsession.
Reams of fiercely colorful text, just to say some very rude things, especially about...
She was also, at one point, one of the most respected enchanters in the Enclave. She worked on something she refused to name, but was clearly of deep significance to the Enclave itself. Called it the source of all our problems.
Sadly, she only danced around that subject, and never
And
offered
never offered
details.
details.
We know the Hearthsiders spent years working in Denevron after the Surge.
It's evident she disagreed with the leaders of the Enclave and gathered others around her who agreed. There's talk of several meetings taking place in the Mire, most likely to be away from prying eyes.
Called her group the Verdant Minds.
Very
Planty.
plenty.
I like it. It's
It's
poetic.
poetic.
Her workshop was a little brisk, even for my tastes. Any idea why?
She was fascinated with Enclave technology, specifically the dismantling, disruption, and repurposing of it.
She was experimenting with aeroliths, the massive enchanted stones that control the Enclave's weather. When the effect is accidentally concentrated, it can be quite intense.
Intense.
We suspect experimenting with the aerolith in relation to the floods. She predicted their start.
How do those devices I found with her mark on them tie into all of this?
In her final notes, her obsession shifted from the Enclave's leadership to the miasma flood. She was determined to find a way to stop it. On one hand, she looked to the aeroliths as a mitigation. Could they repel the miasma?
In the end, her answer
was no.
And so she turned to disruption.
Disruption.
We think the arcs were tests. Could she shut them down?
And if so, could she shut down something larger?
She was clearly successful at least once. Maybe twice if we count the one outside the Veil.
Indeed. And when we're doing more general questions, that is what we must talk
Let's
about.
talk about.
All intriguing information. But we should focus on the flood. Does she have an answer for us?
Partially. This
This
is a
is a design.
Her research led her to one conclusion.
Conclusion.
To stop the floods,
She needed
she
to
needed to
disrupt
disrupt a barrier,
barrier
of some
of
sort.
some sort.
This confirms our theory from earlier. She's talking about the barrier established by Asylum.
Her design is detailed and specific. The device it would create inverts the flow of magic in enchanted objects.
We think the devices we found on the Arks were prototypes, small experiments to determine efficacy and duration.
So what's the catch? If the floods are still happening,
Lucia's thimble, as she calls it, requires some
Highly
highly
specialized
specialized components.
components.
It has to withstand considerable magical flow. Far more than what's produced by an Ark.
It's like how mass scales exponentially. Just because you can build a scale model of an aqueduct doesn't mean the real thing can support its own weight.
Thankfully, that supply cache you found has the necessary materials to handle that kind of magical flow.
Solar can pick up where Lucia left off then.
Exactly. The other thing we'll need is a source of magical flame. Solar's mantle won't be enough by itself.
I can handle that part easily. Okay, so we have clear next steps.
The flood. Our best guess, at any rate.
There's no
There's
sign of her.
All right. Let's go over everything we know so far.
We know that, for a time after the surge, civilians continued to live in Denevron until they were forced to evacuate the city. We're still not sure the cause.
Wherever the Hearthsiders went, they're still actively sending scouting groups to scavenge for supplies. From the uniform, the creeper who was watching Bryn sleep belongs to one of these groups.
We also know that a defensive procedure codenamed Asylum sealed access to the Enclave underground. This was done using a barrier almost
Lucia, an ex-High Enchantress. opposed Asylum and began working on ways to sabotage it.
Her research forecasted that the barrier would cause the Enclave to flood with miasma. The very same flood that seems to have killed Lucia before she was able to finish her thimble.
But we have her design.
So Lucia's thimble is the key to our survival.
It's less a key and more like a
A
magical,
magical battering ram.
Whatever works.
What is it, Lane?
It's just, I've pored over all the documents we've compiled, and a concrete link between the evacuation plan and the underground is nowhere to be found. I can't shake the feeling we're missing something.
The Enclave destroyed a lot of information from their documents. Could that be why you can't find a link between Asylum and the evacuation?
I considered that. The Enclave may have hidden their location from Lucia.
Being a weaver isn't about being certain all the time. It's about taking calculated risks to carve a path forward.
Forward.
And regardless of the Hearthsider's location, disrupting the barrier is the only option to stop the flood.
You're right. I just hope that if we did, there's something that doesn't come back to bite us.
Even if it does, we will
We'll
handle
handle
it.
it.
That settles it. Bryn, it's time to use the thimble.
Thank you for your help with that, Bryn. You've a deft hand for flame magic. You can wear Sev's apprentice hat for one day. Also, Lucia knew what she was doing. This thimble was clearly designed to pair seamlessly with Enclave constructions.
Must be her experience as a high enchantress at work.
Based on Lucia's notes and what we discovered at the Bastion, this was custom designed to disrupt Asylum's barrier.
If it can stop the flood, we need to
We
use
need
it
to
soon.
use it soon.
Agreed. We don't know how much time we have
Time we
left.
have left. Okay, I've maxed everything out until I progress the story.
Never replace it all. How could I have been so careless?
Hey, we ain't careless. We know what we're doing now.
That console that looks like our scry should be the controls for the barrier. The thimble was built to interface with it.
Do it. We didn't do enough research, people. Yeah, hush. You don't want those things seeing you.
Great timing. I owe you one.
You need to come with me. All of you.
All of you. Achievement unlocked. Unraveled a mighty enchantment. Who are
We
you?
mustn't cause a panic.
Sure. It's not like we had a dire supplies shortage on our hands before this happened.
What do I tell the High Enchanter? The Guild will want...
Enough. We won't discuss this further. Identify yourselves.
Aurea Harpene, or Silverbeak, as I'm known among Weaver circles. This is my band, and beside me is our acting point.
Bryn. And you are?
And you are?
Khan Stunnild, Eye of the Enclave.
Enclave.
My colleagues are the Spindle,
And the Axle.
representatives of the Enchanting and Crafting
Guilds.
Guilds. Who sent you?
Sent us?
Taza? Renland? Udea?
Udea.
The Enclave is the envy of the Maida for its magical prowess. Clearly one of those nations has finally grown a spine and decided to take it for themselves in our
In a moment of weakness.
Moment? No one sent us. We came
We
here
came
by
here
accident.
by accident.
What kind of fool do you take me for? You expect me to believe that you bypassed our veil, infiltrated our loom gates, and breached Asylum without a national power backing you?
When you put it that way.
This is a misunderstanding. We're Weavers,
Weavers
like you.
you.
There was a brief opportunity to enter the Enclave for the
For
first
the
time
first
in
time in
decades.
decades.
And we took it. Everything we've done since we arrived has
Arrived has been to uncover what happened after the search and to find you.
If that is true, have you really no inkling of the trouble you've caused?
No.
Your reckless conduct has unleashed an enemy that nearly destroyed us 27 years ago.
The Surgeborn. They first appeared a little over a decade after the veil went up.
Where did they come from?
No one knows. But they arrived in the underworks before making their way to the surface.
Where they left a trail of destruction in their wake and wreaked havoc on the Enclave.
Causing casualties to rise.
And so I called for a retreat here, saving countless lives. We sealed the Surgeborn in the underworks for good, until now.
We've been here a little while now. Don't you think all of this could have been avoided if you'd properly said hello?
She's right.
This is hardly our fault.
Look, Surgeborn or not, we had no choice but to remove the barrier. Though, I suppose we owe you thanks for warning us about the floods.
Who warned you?
You did.
Did we?
I'll deal with you later.
While we can agree Arakim breached no contact protocol, it has proven to be the right decision. The floods were growing worse, and now they have stopped. Even if fixing them has introduced a new problem.
One my band would be more than happy to help you solve.
Ha! Work together.
Sorry to interrupt, but you mentioned your last name earlier. Any relation to Shireen Harpene?
She was my mother.
You know who
You
she
know who
is?
she is.
Of course! I mean, before my time, obviously. But she's still renowned in the Enchanting Guild. Her work is Remarkable. There's a statue of her in Denevron, you know?
Oh. I can't believe she didn't mention that.
There is so much I'd love to ask,
To ask
but
you.
for now, Aurea comes from a long bloodline of outstanding and renowned weavers. Shouldn't that buy her band some grace?
All right. Your presence in the outskirts will be tolerated. Nothing more.
What about the Surgeborn?
What about them?
Shouldn't we work together to deal with them?
We could use the help.
The Surgeborn are a
Spawn
problem for
are a
anyone in
problem
the outskirts.
Not us.
Cassidon's Hold
This
is
whole
a
is
fortress.
fortress.
The scouts do head into the outskirts to scavenge for supplies.
We'll take our own precautions. Speaking of, we have pressing matters to attend to. Enough!
My word is final.
Bryn, the one that led us here is clearly the one that warned us. Try to talk to him before we leave. Maybe he's willing to work with us.
Will do. Hey, Arakim, was it?
Oh, just call me Arik.
Well, Arik, I never got a chance to thank you. You know, for grabbing me before I fell to my death.
I think you had it. Besides, I couldn't let you plummet into a chasm. The Eye is pretty peeved with me,
but hey, that's just a bonus.
You and the Eye don't seem to get along very well.
What gave it away? The mutual contempt. The Eye doesn't like anyone who shows initiative or challenges him. Unfortunately, those are my main qualities. And I suspect he perceives
them in you too.
Yeah, I didn't get the impression he's my biggest fan. Will you be in trouble for saving us?
I'd worry if he ever decided to
get off the throne and do something about it.
But he finds that throne
very comfortable.
So, are you glad we're here?
I'm thrilled you're here.
I have to say, I'm surprised.
Oh, yeah. Sorry for all that cloak and dagger stuff earlier. Khan Stanild had me on strict orders not to make contact with your Weaver band, but it was the right call. From what I just saw, your presence here is having an impact.
How so?
Notice how the Axle took my side against the Eye earlier. That never happens. And the Spindle is as quiet as a mouse most of the time, but not today.
So these are big changes.
It might not sound like much, but they're excited you're here. Stanild can tell too. That's why he backed down so easily. And that's why I'm glad you're here.
So you're not upset that I breached Asylum, like your colleagues?
I've been pushing to do something about the Surgeborn for years now. Saying them free wasn't great, but sealing them in the underworks indefinitely was never a good solution. Frankly, I think Khan Stanild is just annoyed you undid his one claim to fame. I guarantee he has no plans to do anything about the Surgeborn now that they're free.
You don't think he sees them as a threat?
Threat?
He's got his head in the sand about a lot of things.
You seem awfully trusting of us, considering the terrible first impression we've made.
Well, I was spying on you the first time, so let's call it even.
Sure. Maybe you know everything already then, but have you got any questions for me?
For me?
Just one.
Why?
Why are you here?
Growing up, I saw the Enclave as a symbol
of the Weavers
after the Surge. After all, we have no home to return to, and we're pariahs in most nations. But the longer I'm in here, the more I realize how much your people have lost too. and still stand to lose. I'm here to help, however I can.
That is exactly what I was hoping you'd say. If that's truly what you want, then dealing with the Surgeborn is the first step.
First step.
It doesn't help that some have benefited off that same crisis.
Who?
Who always benefits?
It's the very top.
Our leaders are too preoccupied with their own concerns to form a unified front against the Surgeborn.
Such as?
The Spindle is obsessed with getting the Arcs functional again. She believes that will help us regain control. And the Axle is too stressed about our supply shortage right now. But if their concerns were handled, they could pressure the Eye to finally address the Surgeborn.
That sounds like an opportunity. And are you a representative yourself?
Representative,
yes.
Yes. Sway?
Sway, no.
No.
I represent
the Scouts, meaning I'm at the meetings, but I don't have the title to back me up. The Scouts were once points like you, but our role has changed since the Veil went up. We were effectively drafted into scavenging for food and supplies. It made sense following the Surge, but it's been years. Recently, we've even been separated from Cassidon's hold and the remaining civilians. Anyway, it's the guild leaders who will need to pressure Khan Stanild into dealing with the Surgeborn. That's where my people need your help the most. Then we can start fixing the deeper issues we face.
Sounds like I've got some palms to grease.
Yuck.
But yes,
I'll come by your camp later. We'll be able to speak more freely there.
What is that about?
The Eye isn't one for idle chit-chat. That's worth watching.
Talk to you back at our camp.
You got it.
Sev, you all right?
You all right?
No.
I
mean, yes.
Yes, I'm fine.
You sure?
Rin, the rest of us are heading out. See you back at camp.
I got to go.
I am simply telling you, as the foremost leader of the Enclave, that I don't want you getting distracted.
Can you clarify what you mean by that?
You know exactly what I mean. Eyes down, know your place. Focus on your own problems. Organize your little craftspeople. Keep the wheels of civilized society greased. And don't dare to presume you know better than me.
If you have a problem with my performance, you are welcome to gather feedback from the people who elected me. They may have a clearer understanding of what I bring to the table.
We'll continue this conversation later.
Hirun, Khan Atme. Allow me to formally introduce you to Bryn, the Weaver Band's point.
You're the Axle, right? Arakim says you're a good person to know.
I am. My given name is Harun, as Arakim said, but you may refer to me as Khan Atme. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, despite the circumstances.
And I wish they were better
circumstances. The new Surgeborn threat requires us to realign our priorities. Some are a little slower on that than others.
If there's anything we can do to move things along, I'm at your disposal.
What about the supply shortage? I've seen her in combat. She's better than any of us.
What's her help look like? I'd prefer if she could avoid unleashing another apocalypse on us.
Unleashing the Surgeborn wasn't our best moment. What can I do to make your life easier?
Beyond asking the Enchanting Guild to develop time travel magic so you can go back and not do that, there's a silver lining to this Surgeborn situation that we're suddenly in a position to take advantage of.
Count me in.
Right. With the Surgeborn unleashed, we're anticipating casualties and damage to our facilities. However, there's a restricted area in the underworks that we lost access to decades ago when the Eye sealed it. The Institute, an arcane laboratory where the Enclave conducted its enchantment research, among other projects. Inside the Institute lies a significant supply cache. Its contents will be enough to keep us going for the time being. If the notes the previous Axle left me are accurate, though, there's an additional complication.
Of course.
The Surgeborn secure territory by building structures, akin to insect hives. The Institute is likely overrun with them, and has been for 20-odd
20
years.
years.
So, the Surgeborn are a long-standing threat to the Enclave.
I wish I were old enough to remember what it was like to live without the fear of the Surgeborn. As a child, I sat awake every night worrying about them.
They were terrifying.
Knowing what I know now, I should have been even more scared.
I'm sorry you went through that.
Thank you.
All the more reason to actually do something about the problem, instead of spending our lives cowering behind walls of our glorious fortress.
You'll hear no disagreement from me, now that the game board has been upended.
Sounds like I need to clear any Surgeborn hives from the Institute, then.
That'll thin them out enough that my scouts will be able to access the supply cache without much trouble.
Now that Asylum is lifted, we should be able to access the loom gates in the Institute again. I'm going to trust you with this key swatch. It's been gathering dust for over 25 years.
Only the Eye would let such a crucial resource sit there for that long.
Yes. If we're clear on everything, I'll get back to work. Someone has to keep this goddamn fortress running.
Okay, so we cleared the Institute for the start. Now, what can I do for you, Spindle?
Excuse me, but Arakim mentioned you're the Spindle, a leading representative for the High Arcanists.
Oh, yes, that's
correct.
We wanted to formally introduce
ourselves.
I'm Aurea, as you know. This is Dawn, our enchanter, and Bryn, our acting point.
We didn't catch your name earlier. Khan?
Just call me Isla. Is there something I can help you with?
We'd actually like to help
To help you.
Apparently
you want to restore the Arks.
Shh. Not so loud. Sorry, that sounds wonderful, but the Eye won't be happy about us collaborating.
Come on. You must know better than anyone how integral the Arks are to the Enclave. Why let the Eye...
I do know that. I mean...
And I don't.
I do want to fix the Arks. More than anything. I just need you to be quiet about it.
Okay. We'll try, but forgive us if our excitement bubbles over and we forget.
It's Dom. He's the one that might forget.
We know that the Arks began malfunctioning after the surge. A select few were even sabotaged. Any idea on what caused the other malfunctions?
Some theories, but nothing solid.
Solid.
Anyone who knew how to create arcs, let alone fix them, died
before I was born.
I've tinkered with an inactive arc that's lying near the Grand Gate, but it would make a world of difference if I could study a resonance that was freshly harvested from a great arc's pattern.
Consider it done.
Bryn's got you covered. She has a knack for harvesting great archons.
You'll have it in no time.
If you're sure, I certainly would appreciate...
Right.
We've been talking a while.
You know what? Let's go harvest the Ark of the Stricken Earth for her then.
Remember, Bryn, the spindle needs you to harvest resonance from one of these massive arcs.
I just have to climb it one more time now.
Enough to dispel her nerves.
Only one way to find out.
Return to camp and then immediately teleport to where Isla is.
And then, Sev and I realized we might be able to repurpose the carapace for more than just... Purely theoretical right now, but I'm contemplating tangle-resistant gear, or even a protective layer around the caravan.
Dom, I'm a little busy trying to look over these Tarmakine schematics again.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Hey, Bryn.
Everything all right? Things between you and Dom seem...
Yeah, a bit. I'm not sure he understands.
Have you told him how you're feeling?
It feels like he's so wrapped up in his own discoveries that he's not hearing me.
He is easily distracted, but maybe you should try again. If there's one thing, he must care about your feelings.
Then why isn't he asking about them? Sorry, this isn't on you. I'm just frustrated.
How so?
I need to show him. By investigating Tarmakind practices. Maybe I can make some headway on
Hey, I'm always down to investigate lost knowledge. Especially in the name of love.
You'll help me?
Of course.
Amazing. I'll ask the Axel if she knows anything about
Great idea. I'll meet you at Cassidon's Hold. How are you settling in, Eric?
Good. Yeah, they're fine.
They're fine.
Just good?
No, not really.
Not really.
Something's going on at the hold,
at the
and it's making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. The Eye publicly scorched you for opening up Asylum, and yet I've heard him telling the Spindle that this could be a good thing. Meanwhile, the runners are stretched paper thin keeping supplies moving, which, of course, leaves my people no time to deal with actual threats.
Sounds like you could use some help.
Really? Oh, dancing winds, where to start? No, wait, I know. The Spitfires. A particularly aggressive group seems set on spreading through Denevron. In particular, they're building nests in some areas I was hoping to use as training grounds. But...
Would the areas be safe if I took care of the nests?
Yes, though the nests are very durable. They will turn brittle if you get them cold enough.
Consider it done.
Maybe an odd request. Could you ask Aurea if I could power the scry while you're tackling them?
Why not ask her yourself?
I feel like I have a lot to learn from Aurea and how she works with you. And it's strangely intimidating to admit that to her directly.
She is a force of nature.
Bryn, I'm glad you're here. I need to talk to you.
What's going on?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just... about those 90 Drake scales. I know Aurea said we don't need them, but she just doesn't understand. It's dangerous out here, you know? Especially now that these Surgeborn are loose. We need to be prepared for anything. It's just gnawing in the back of my head. Do you think you could do it?
You haven't told me why we...
We want the best gear and weapons, don't we?
So Sola asked for these?
Not exactly.
Seriously, when's the last time you slept?
Kashar don't need as much sleep as Ashar or Casil.
But you need some sleep.
It's been a while. Maybe 10 days. Or a week. I'm fine.
I'm guessing Aurea doesn't know you want me to go Drake hunting. Do you really think it's a good idea for us to go behind?
It looks bad, but she just doesn't see it.
To be honest,
Please, just...
Kaz, you need to tell me what's really going on here. I want to help, but the Drake scales? The Weaver Band is okay. More than okay. We're in the best shape we've been in since we entered the Enclave, now that we've made contact with the Heartsiders. Besides, the caravan is looking pretty full. It's not making sense.
You think I'm insane?
No, of course not.
Era's breath. I shouldn't have brought this up. But you just don't understand. Everyone could die if I don't...
Whatever this is, please just tell me what's going on.
No. I shouldn't have burdened, but...
Kaz!
I can't talk about this anymore.
Casmin is not okay. And I don't think bringing her more stuff is the answer. I'd better talk to Aurea. Hey, Aurea.
I know. I'm worried too. So is the rest of the band. Let's talk at the archive, privately. I'll join you and Lane in a moment.
All right.
Yeah, something's up with Kaz.
It's safe to say Casmin hasn't been acting like herself. She's always been tightly wound, but this is something else.
Bryn, she seems more open with you than most. Can you describe in detail what's...
She's begging me for more supplies, even though the caravan is chock full.
Not that we could tell, because she's covered it up.
More than that, she just seems distressed. She's always talking about worst-case scenarios. And lately, it's like she's convinced we're all going to die.
I have heard rumors of abnormal behavior developing in Kashar that could be linked to this.
What kind of rumors?
In polytheistic beliefs that are pervasive in the southern part of the Maida, there is an affliction known as Ira's Plague. The sufferer is haunted by twisted visions of death and pain. The goddess of justice, Ira, won't allow the sufferer inner peace until they repent through scrupulosity. My apologies. I forget most people don't follow UD in eschatological study. Scrupulosity can be best described as a series of repetitive acts that one is compelled to do. For example, if Casmin is plagued by relentless images of our band dying from exposure...
She might send our point out over and over again to retrieve supplies.
Yes, in order to dispel the horrific visions.
Are you seriously suggesting?
Of course not. I'm confident that this is merely a stigmatized phenomenon that could not be explained through facts, or so the populace explained it through religious folly instead.
Any ideas what facts could explain it?
Not yet.
I didn't realize Casmin was spiritual. Is she really trying to hide these?
Though not devout herself, Casmin grew up with a strict
Ashar
mother.
You're right, she did.
It's possible Casmin's affliction was a point of shame or contention between them. Perhaps she fears rejection if she shares her experience with us.
Kashar, what does
What
Ira's
does Ira's
plague
have to do with them?
While most see Kashar as a celebrated merging of the two cultures, some fringe sects disagree. They believe the wider lineage simply leads to more ancestral sin that must be atoned. And thus, only Kashar can be afflicted.
Really? Where do you land?
The concept of impure lineage is clearly hogwash, but
All right. Casmin is suffering.
And preemptively? No exorcisms?
As I said, this is likely nothing more than a condition that a scientific explanation must exist, and thankfully, we are in the heart of progressive thinking.
You think the Enclave could have...
Makes sense.
Where the steps in the upper city is where, between the main building of the spire and the atrium, used to stand a school for alchemists. From your explorations, the surge hit that area pretty hard, but some of the building may still be standing.
Great. What am I looking for?
Maybe the name of someone who suffered like Casmin. Or a healer. If you find someone like that, you'll want to search the areas of the city where they spent time. Ira's Plague is wildly misunderstood across the Maida. If we could find a treatment,
You're right. I'll start... Hi, Aurea. I am here on behalf of Arakim.
That's weirdly formal.
He finds you intimidating.
Personally, I don't see it,
I
but
thought I'd be extra polite for his sake.
He does.
Good.
Good.
What does he want?
What does he want?
He's wondering if he could power the scry while I run an errand for him.
He's hoping you'll give him some tips.
Happily. But feel free to tell him I was a bit scary, to keep him on his toes.
Hey.
Yes. I was born in the Enclave.
How?
Oh, luck or tragedy. Before I was born, my mother and father lived here happily for several years. But they decided it would be better if my mother raised me with my grandmother and great aunts for the first few. So she left with me when I was just a hatchling, with every intention to return.
But the surge happened.
The life I should have had was lost for good. Because of all this, I never knew my father.
Does your family have something to do with your attachment?
Being here has meant a lot in some ways. And in other, meeting the Hearthsiders was a lifelong dream. But the
Knowing now that this is your birthplace?
This was meant to be my home, after all.
Is it common for Oberon hatchlings to be raised apart from their fathers?
No, but it is common for extended family to be involved in the raising of children. As you know, I come from a long line of weavers, many of whom traveled in caravans their entire lives. It was apparently quite a shock when my mother fell for a Hearthsider.
So your parents were looking for a compromise when it came to raising you?
Exactly. And I wouldn't trade my great-aunts and my grandmother made me who I am, after all.
Still, you missed out on your father.
I suppose.
Isn't it a little strange your mother never told?
She was separated from him so suddenly. She had no... My mother's a strong woman, but whenever I asked about him as a child, she could only manage a few words. She found it too painful to discuss.
But now?
I can't help but wish I knew who he was.
This is definitely...
I am sorry for that.
So why hide it?
Talking about difficult and private matters, and frankly, I rarely see the point in dwelling on the past.
I guess you and your mother have that in common.
Huh. You might be right.
Might be right.
So, we're going to find out who your father was.
You would...
Help me.
Help me?
Of course.
Of course.
Maybe Lane would have some ideas on where to start.
Actually, I had an idea myself. The spindle mentioned a statue of my mother. It's clear the Enclave commemorated their champions. I can't shake...
You think there's a statue of your father?
I know it sounds strange, but the handful of times that my mother spoke of him, she described... Since she was one herself. Is it so crazy to think she might have meant that literally?
Maybe not. I can scope out the statues in Upper Denevron for a resemblance, if that's what you want.
Good. And...
Thank you.
Thank you.
A resonance. Freshly pulled from an arc's pattern, as requested.
By the flames! You can't be... You know, great archons weren't built with patterns. They formed. This will propel my research faster than...
What is this about?
Nothing.
Is that so? Then why is this rogue point harvesting archons for you?
This is just healthy collaboration between our people.
What's wrong is that you're pursuing a project that I have given my daughter expressed orders not to pursue.
Daughter?
The reason you didn't want me studying active arcs was because it was too dangerous to harvest one. But Bryn offered to do it for me. None of our people were put at risk.
The reason I didn't want you researching arcs is because I ordered you not to. Not as your father, but as the leader of the Enclave. This insolence and disrespect will not be tolerated. You will drop this obsession at once,
Eva.
For good.
Good.
Hey, are you...
I can't be seen speaking to you about this subject anymore. I'm sorry.
But...
I need to get back to work.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bryn, you brought your talented smith.
I was wondering if you might have any information on Tarmkind smithing practices within the Enclave.
I'm not well versed in Tarmkind myself, but I recall one smith who hoped to make the tech. You could try searching the guild district in High Denevron for a registry.
Sola is actually hoping to restore the lost art herself. Anything else?
The Smithing Guild also had an extensive library. You might find a tome on Tarmakine that could be useful while you're there.
Thank you so...
I admire your ambition. What you're hoping to achieve...
If anyone can do it, it's Sola.
Sola.
I don't know about that.
I can believe it.
Good
luck in your endeavors.
Okay, this area seems to be a lot of running back and forth talking to people.
Bryn?
Hi, Sola.
Welcome back. It's good to see you safe.
Of course.
Sounds like your work with Isla was a smash success.
Not exactly. She seems...
Yeah, I wouldn't be so sure of that. She sent me here with a secret message.
After all.
She did?
Isla wants you to go to the Archon's hearth. It needs to be at night, though. She'll sneak away from Cassidon's hold to guide you on the scry here. She wants you to collect Archon parts that may be hard to spot without her help.
I don't think I've been to the Archon's hearth yet.
You've been pretty close to it.
I have?
Wow. You've forgotten our...
I take it that's where the cavern near the harness leads.
Correct.
So what is it exactly?
The Archon's hearth is where all arcs were created. We lost control of it almost immediately after the Surgeborn appeared. Not that we had much use for it. The Surge hit it hard, and most of the weavers who knew how to build arcs died as a result. But all the materials to build arcs are still there.
What parts does Isla want me to collect?
There'll be 3 what's-its, 4 who's-its, and maybe a thingy or 2?
For a guy delivering secret messages, you're not really...
I glazed over when she started listing the parts, and, well, we decided her sneaking out to guide you on your scry was the best. Besides, even if we knew what the parts were called, there's a lot of junk down in the Archon's hearth.
The Eye, well...
Well, her father was livid
when I brought her the resonance. Couldn't Isla get in trouble for sneaking out?
I know. Oh, she's never been cooler. But yes, she could absolutely get in trouble for this. We should...
Got it. I appreciate you being the middleman, Eric.
Enjoy the trip. It is basically a giant forge for arcs, after all.
Good news. You're going to study with Aurea. Well, there's no reason she wouldn't teach you. Aurea believes in preserving and sharing everything we learn. Times are hard outside.
I've coordinated lots of operations from Cassidon's hold, but I never had much formal training. A chance to learn from someone with decades of experience is an incredible opportunity. I'll be there with you then, when you get close to the nests. They're in the Bastion's yard and Envoy's Landing in Upper Denevron.
Could always use more power from the glass tail. Cut the horn on its head. The horn on its head. Do its leg shake. Back to cut the corn. Yes, that's another piece down. Cut the one on the spine. Cling. He's gonna try and throw me. Back to cutting. Yes, another piece down. One on his chin. One on his leg. that's lost all of its little spikes. The next time it does its little ground slam, I'll be able to grab that thread off of its spine. Now I just need to frickin' somehow tempt it into doing the ground slam like that. Now climb to it, you idiot! Ah, it's gonna recover before I get to its head. Come on. Come on. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, and recovered. I gotta evade now until it's back to being knocked or being stunned. Which, yeah, it usually does the leap after trying to bite me. Harvest before it recovers.
That frost strand will be useful.
You're getting close now. Watch for the flames. You'll need to freeze the hives. They're spongy and resistant to damage unless you can make them brittle.
That's more like it. Work with the scry.
A collapsed tunnel. Judging from the size, it could have been a route for Archons.
Attack it while it's brittle. That's 2 down. Return to base.
You wanted to talk?
Mm-hmm. Can you...
Why all the mystery?
In a word,
I'm worried.
I'm worried.
About?
Sev, he's been acting strangely. Has been since we met the Hearths. He's going there a lot in off hours. And he honestly looks a little exhausted. Dom, of course, stays up later than us and says he's often slipping away.
Have you asked Sev what's wrong?
I have. And he waves it off
every time.
Right. What do we do about it?
Sev has completely cut me off. But you know how I tease Lane for watching us all the time? Maybe that will pay off here.
You do?
Talk to Lane for me. I'm sure they've... Okay.
We need to talk about Sev.
Wait, you know why I'm here?
I'm a keen observer, and you have no Pangel face. Also, Solar has many strengths, but subtlety
It's not one of them.
Sev, however, is somewhat more adept at hiding things. He's been moving back and forth between here and the hold quite regularly. Let me ask you something. Did you notice...
There was a moment when Sev approached the Eye to speak alone.
Ah. That confirms my suspicion, then. Have you noticed that Sev and the Eye wear a similar symbol?
I had not.
The symbol looks to be a stylized... well, I'm not sure, but I think it's something akin to a water wheel. I don't recognize it myself, but given the Eye is wearing it, the Enclave might have some record of that particular symbol.
The archives in the Spire might have something. Though
Given his secrecy about this whole affair, I can't imagine he will be forthcoming.
Good point. And yet... Hey, big guy. Everything okay?
Yes, mostly. I was wondering if you had a moment sometime.
You know you can count on me, Sev. I'll come see you when I have a moment.
Thank you, Bryn.
Yeah, something's up with Sev.
You said you needed some help, Sev? What?
Have I ever told you how I envy your clarity, Bryn?
How so?
Maybe I'm just romanticizing it, but...
I was born in the tail years of a liberation war, Sev. It never made sense to me that I couldn't be anything I wanted. So I just decided.
I wish making decisions came so simply to me. Anyway, I've been working on a side project to help the Hearthside.
What are you working on?
I can't say much. But I can tell you it's...
That revelation would carry more weight if you weren't.
I know he can be abrasive, but...
Do the axle or spindle...
I'm...
But you do.
He's sworn me to secrecy. But...
You're sure?
I know I come off as a pushover. But I know when to hold my ground. And would n...
If the Hearthsiders are asking for your help...
The survivors are strapped. I'm sure before the Surge they would have had rare materials in...
If you think it's worth doing, it's worth doing. Just tell me what you need.
Bryn, I've put together a schematic and I'll leave it with Solar. The majority of the asks are reasonably mundane.
It's just...
Oh no.
Well, I need some particular secretions from a glass tail.
You mean the thing I just killed?
Why is it never... You know, small, green, distinct lack of talons. Never flash freeze you into an icy prison.
I'm
kidding, Sev. I'll see what I can do.
balance of protection and mobility.
Let's go to the Institute. Yeah, I saw the trailer for next season.
Welcome to the Institute. Every one of those constructs you've been beating on was conceived in these halls.
Imagine standing among those weavers in the Enclave's prime, fearlessly pushing the boundaries of enchanting.
Well, they broke everything too. Literally everything. So, they weren't that fantastic.
This passage must be the Enchanter's Way.
Marked only as expansion cavern
First hive's up ahead.
Do we have any useful notes on the hives from the previous accent?
Don't bother trying to deal with them. Too scary.
I'm beginning to get an inkling of why they replaced him.
brutal. Wish I could be out there with you.
I get the feeling the Eye would love to send you out among the Surgeborn with Bryn.
What do you think, Eric?
I'd go in a heartbeat, but I've got dozens of scouts to coordinate. Wouldn't wish that job on anyone else.
Dissolution chamber. The machinery in here looks complex, perhaps a part of the tapestry.
Well, to find out, I gotta melt all the stuff on it. Why is this game so addicting? Okay, I need to complete my mission if I can find the other one and then get out of here and save for now. I'll have to come back to this area. For one, there's a new arc here that I haven't fought yet. But to fight that new arc, I'm gonna want a specialty flame blade, I think. No! It was, they were able to pin me to a corner and kill me. Hey. I'm trying to destroy nest of a new type of enemy called the Surgeborn. Needless to say, they are very tough. Yeah, well, I kind of caused the problem myself by doing something I didn't realize until after. The whole game, the objective had been to get rid of the flood, which was caused by... Yeah, the flood was caused by that barrier. Well, when I took the barrier down, I released these things. But if I can break all these nests, I can get favor with the eye. And there's only one nest remaining. That's why I'm trying to focus on it instead of on them. Let me drink my cold immunity. Come on, I've nearly have to have destroyed that thing. I can't directly touch it because that fog that's coming out of it will kill me. Don't think I didn't see you. You may be invisible, but you're not that invisible. I could see him among the fire. Burn! Yeah, come on, down here, this way, yes, that way, see, you know, like right up on top of the area with the other guy. Come on, that thing's gotta almost be destroyed. Come on, break already! Can't keep these other ones at bay forever. just wanted to complete this mission, and I was gonna call it for now. Fine, let's make it cold. That was a godsend, having found that vitality tonic. I can fight again. Fire! And boom. Got even a bubble. Yes, that was the last one.
Think that'll give the scouts some breathing room.
Absolutely. Carnartame will be thrilled. I'll meet you at Cassidy's Hold so we can deliver the good news.
Now if I kill these ones, then I can actually get some decent loot out of this area. Actually, you know what? I'm taking what I got and running. I've done enough. I did what I came for. Time to get out before I die. Bye-bye, fools. Yeah, I can. That was insane. So, I just have to go to the hold and talk to the person, and I'm probably done for now. I need to tell them I've got the supply route clear. Which was the whole point of going down into that insane mine system. Surgeborn hives destroyed, Axel. Job's complete.
If you're interrupting my petition reading time, I hope you'll bring...
Nothing but. The way's clear for the scouts to start retrieving those supplies.
Anything to add, Arakim?
I'm shaken to my core by the revelation that one can achieve things without forms signed
or triplicate.
Interesting.
I won't argue
with success, especially when it keeps our people,
going.
Bryn, Since you've proven yourself useful, I've considered the ways in which you can assist us further. We'll need Isla's help for this next step.
Oh, we're all on a first-name basis with her, are we?
I
should hope so, yes.
As it turns out, I'm actually in the middle of helping her with something. I'll come find you when she's free.
Good to know. Don't let her do anything dangerous.
Please.
It's actually quite dangerous. She's got a
surprising thirst for excitement.
I never expected her to be such a rebel.
Who knew?
Oh, I've never seen that side of her before.
What are you
helping her with?
We're doing some
discreet research.
I'm going to assume that the Eye hasn't been looped in on it then.
You'd be correct.
And I'm sure he won't be.
That would be counterproductive. And I think she'll be upset by that. Regardless, I will refrain from moving
forward with my plans until she's free.
Do let me know when you're done
with her. That'll have to be next time, because it has to be done at night in that place. But for now, back to the camp to give some supplies to my people, and then I'm gonna save and quit. Cassandra, or Casmine. I can't upgrade yet, but I might as well salvage some resources. What do I have most of? Leather, it looks like. Let's give her about half of it. There you go, Casmine. That should help the camp. Save. Overwrite. A need of assistance. Oh yeah, I definitely need to call it for now. I've been playing way longer than I thought.